Jade Harris, 3 years on death row. After replying to an online posting for a car for sale, Harris shot and killed Josemar Rojas, 26, Irene Cardenas Reyes, 35, and Susana Perez Ruelas, 34, on October 24, 2012. Before they were shot in the head, they were shackled and put on their knees. Harris then shot Perez Ruelas to death and her kid, who made it out alive. Adrian Ortiz, 3 years on death row. Ortiz and his girlfriend got into a car fight on the evening of April 21, 2009 in Porterville. Fuming with wrath, Ortiz took out a pistol and fired shots into the dashboard, filling the car with smoke. While driving, Ortiz's girlfriend stopped in front of a home where one of her friend's spouse, and their 2-week-old child were staying. The girlfriend, sobbing, fled the car and made her way to the house to discuss the abusive relationship with her friend. Sitting on the couch with the infant was the friend's husband, who was the victim in this case. When Ortiz tried to carry on the argument through the doorway, the victim ordered him to wait outside. Anderson claimed that once Ortiz started punching his girlfriend, she ran back to the house with him. The victim declared that the door to the house was locked and that he was going to call the police. Taking the gun out of the car, Ortiz threatened to murder the victim if he dialed 911. After that, Anderson claimed, Ortiz kicked down the door and kept threatening, pointing the gun at the victim while he begged him not to murder him. Ortiz led the victim into the kitchen, seated him at a table, and fired a shot to the neck while pointing the gun at his head. The victim later died at the hospital. Ortiz, who was 3 weeks shy of turning 20, fled to Mexico where he was captured by U.S. Marshal in August 2012. Hernan Rodriguez, 3 years on death row. Rodriguez was accused of intentionally shooting a high-powered rifle into a group of field workers having lunch and killing 2 of them. Jesse Torres, 3 years on death row. Torres was found guilty on March 13, 2019, of first-degree murder that occurred during a kidnapping. He abducted 17-year-old Norma Lopez on July 15, 2010, when she was walking to a friend's home from summer school at Valley View High School. Her body was found 5 days later, about 3 miles away. Jesse Gomez, 2 years on death row. Gomez was found guilty of first-degree murder in connection with the shooting death of 43-year-old Jonathan de Guzman on July 28, 2016. In addition, the jury found Gomez guilty of attempting to kill Wade Irwin, de Guzman's colleague. De Guzman, a 16-year-old San Diego Police Department veteran, passed away at the hospital, while Irwin spent about a month there after receiving a bullet to the throat. Noel Herrera, 2 years on death row. He is a gang member who has been found guilty of several killings that took place between 2010 and 2017. On January 9, 2010, a 26-year-old man was killed in Herrera's first homicide. The second occurred on April 24, 2014, when authorities said Herrera opened fire during a drive-by shooting, killing a 25-year-old male. Herrera was at the scene of a drive-by shooting on February 15, 2017, although no one was harmed. 3 days later, a 20-year-old guy was shot and murdered by him, according to officials. Herrera was stopped by the police shortly after the third murder, and they discovered a gun that linked him to the shooting on February 15, 2017. Samuel Amador, 1 year on death row. Amador is convicted of killing 4 men: Pedro Rios, Joseph Russell, Michael Wilson, and George Renteria. Desmond Stevenson, 1 year on death row. Robert Green and Desmond Stevenson were taken into custody 3 days after 36-year-old Mitesh Patel was shot to death inside the Boise Drive-In Dairy. Green and Stevenson robbed Patel at the convenience store while holding him at gunpoint. Police claimed that despite Patel giving them the money, Stevenson, a known member of a gang, shot and killed him. Shortly after taking Patel's money and shooting him, the suspects tried to rob Bliss Liquor Store with a gun. Salvador Vasquez Oliva, 1 year on death row. Vasquez Oliva murdered his wife, Angelique Vasquez, and their 2 kids, Alvin and Mia, in March 2017. Additionally, he fatally stabbed Ashley Coleman, his niece. After a family member asked Sacramento police to check on the well-being of the 4 murder victims, the bodies were found inside the Southland Park home. Police officials located and apprehended Vasquez Oliva in the Bay Area within hours of the victims' discoveries. Jose Larin Garcia. he was sentenced this year in 2024. On February 3, 2019, Jose Vladimir Larin Garcia murdered Juan Duarte Raya, 18, Juliana Garcia, 17, Jacob Montgomery, 19, and Carlos Campos Rivera, 25. On February 24, 2023, a little more than 4 years later, the jury recommended that Larin Garcia be executed. When Garcia ran into Campos Rivera outside his apartment complex's gate the night of the killings, he was in a car with 3 of the victims. After firing twice at Campos Rivera, including a fatal blow to the head, Garcia's car fled the scene a few blocks away. During the trial, a neighbor testified that she heard several gunshots, a loud crash, and people screaming from inside the car. Montgomery, Duarte Raya, and Juliana Garcia were found shot in the head, and their bodies were discovered inside the damaged vehicle on Sunny Dunes Road. Juliana Garcia also sustained a hand wound, which is thought to have happened when she attempted to protect herself from the hail of close-range gunshots. Near the crash site, Campos Rivera's body was found by authorities that were investigating the area. Additionally, they discovered Larin Garcia huddled beneath a vehicle a few blocks away from the disabled car, his shoes and jacket taken off, and his body splattered with the victim's blood. Frank Gonzalez, 16 years on death row. Gonzalez was sentenced to death for the first-degree murder and attempted robbery of Maria Rosa, who was gunned down about 6 a.m. on March 28, 2006. The 30-year-old woman was on her way to work at the Sheriff's Inmate Reception Center. Jason Donaldson, 24 years on death row. Sentenced to death in 2004 for the 1998 essay and killing of an Alhambra woman who was locked inside the trunk of her car and left to die after Donaldson set it on fire. Please hit that subscribe button if you like my channel. See you next time. Bye bye.